Okay, just trying to broadcast. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you so much for joining our call here today. We'll get started after this brief prayer to the spiritual master. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Manchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Welcome, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining our call here today. And so we have, in the order of appearance, Uttara Mataji, Kiran Goyal, Sukumal Radhe, Vindhyavali, Varshana, and Garima. And we also have Devi Mataji. Devi, are you in a position to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji. No, Mataji, I will be in the listening mode.
All right, no problem. Prat, welcome. Thank you for joining the call. And let us get started. Before you joined, I was just telling them about the 6 a.m. January 1 plan. So for chanting the japa. So now
Yes,
I'm going to
Mataji.
start chanting. Yeah, I'm going to start sharing our screen here. Just let me know momentarily what can you see there. You should see your reading order and you should see chapter 8 of Bhagavad-gita. Do you see all that?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay.
Chapter 8, Attaining the Supreme. And after Sukamla Mataji, Vindhyavali Mataji is there.
Okay. All right. So now let's get started. Here, Uttara Mataji, let's read one translation from chapter 8. I'm assuming you can read.
Text 1. Arjuna inquired, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me.
Kiran Goyal Mataji, can you read today? She was trying to send me some text message. Okay. Okay, she's on mute, so I'll remove the name. Then
Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
Dandavat Pranams.
Should I read then?
Yes, please.
Okay. Who is the Lord of sacrifice and how does he live in the body, O Madhusudana? And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the indestructible, transcendental, living entity is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the self. Action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities is called karma or fruitive activities. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. O best of the embodied beings, the physical nature which is constantly changing is called Adhibhuta, the material manifestation. The universal form of the Lord, which includes all demigods, like those of the sun and moon, is called Adhideva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as the super soul in the heart of every embodied being, am called Adi Yajña, the Lord of Sacrifice. Hare Krishna.
Adhibhuta, Adhideva, Adhiyajña.
Adhibhuta, Adhideva,
Daiva.
Adhiyajña,
Not Adhideva, Adhideva.
Adhidaiva,
Not
Adhiyajña,
not Adhideva, Adhi.
Adhi,
Adhideva.
Daiva.
Yeah, Adhideva and Adhiyajña. So the first A is not a hard A for in each of the three words. It's Adhi,
Yes,
Adhi.
Adhi.
All right.
Adhideva.
Then who's coming
Adhiyajña.
after Varshana Mataji? Garima, are you in a position to read?
Yes, Mataji, I can read something.
Good.
And whoever at the end of his life quit his body, remembering me alone at once, attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt.
Subodhni, can you read today?
I guess so. Let's do it that way.
Subodhni? She's on mute. Okay, Kiran Khosla Mataji. why don't you-
Hare Krishna Ji. Whatever state of being one remembers, when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state will attain without fail. Hare Krishna Ji.
Okay, so we go back to circle again. Back to Uttara Mataji.
Text 7. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. Hare Krishna.
He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Parth, is sure to reach me.
One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and he is transcendental beyond this material nature. Hare Krishna.
Anybody remember the Sanskrit for this? Kavi Puranam Manushashitaram Praniyam Samanusmaredyaha Sarvasya Dhataram Achinta Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Pratyaya. Nice, okay.
Hare Krishna.
Beautiful verse.
One who, at the time of death, fixes his life here between the eyebrows and, by the strength of yoga, with an undeviating mind, engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion, will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Very.
People who are learned in the Vedas, who utter Omkara, and who are great sages in the renounced order, enter into Brahman. Desiring self-perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now briefly explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation.
The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. One establishes himself in yoga. Hare Krishna Ji.
After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets. Hare Krishna.
For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pritha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service.
After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. Hare Krishna.
By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together from the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night.
At the beginning of Brahma's death, at the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state, and thereafter, when the night falls, they are merged into the unmanifest again. Hare Krishna.
Again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated. Hare Krishna.
Yet there is another unmanifest nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is.
Yeah, I muted myself. That which the Vedantists describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that palace, that place from which, having attained it, one never returns. That is my supreme abode.
Hare Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all pervading and everything is situated within him. Hare Krishna.
Garima. Shall I read? O best of the Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which, passing away from this world, the yogi does or does not come back. Hare Krishna.
Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain that Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of fairy God in the light, fiery God in the light at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north.
The mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight of the waning moon, or the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, reaches the moon planet but again comes back. Hare Krishna.
According to Vedic opinion, there are two ways of passing from this world, one in light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back, but when one passes in darkness, he returns.
Although the devotees know these two paths, O Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore, as always fixed in devotion.
Be always fixed in devotion.
Be always fixed in devotion.
A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So today we are going to do the last chapter, last verse from chapter 8 today, text number 28. Vedeṣu yajñeṣu tapaḥsu caiva, dāneṣu puṇya-phalam pradiṣṭam, atyeti sarvam idaṁ viditvā, yogī param sthānam upaiti cādyam. Vedeṣu, in the study of the Vedas. Yajñeṣu, in the performances of yajña sacrifices.
After the class.
Tapaḥsu, in undergoing different types of austerities. Cha, also. Eva, certainly. dāneṣu, in giving charities. Yat, that which. puṇya-phalam, result of pious work. pradiṣṭam, indicated. atyeti, surpasses. Tat, sarvam, all those. Idam, this. Viditvā, knowing. Yogī, the devotee. Param, supreme. Sthānam, abode. Upaiti, achieves. Cha, also. Ādyam, original. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. So, what happened to my meeting consoles? Gone. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing. Yeah. So, what did we hear in the last verse?
The devotional service is all you have to do.
Hmm.
And if you do that, what will you get?
All
You
the
will
yajñas
attain the supreme abode of Krishna.
And what else?
yajñas and sacrifices and then charities, all those results same as devotional service.
Are they all those results the same as devotional service?
No.
Right. They're not the same as devotional service. When you do devotional service, you will get all that and more.
It's
All
not
that.
bereft
Yes,
of the results of
that's
the
what I
Vedas,
mean.
That's
So
what
talking about
performing sacrifice.
talking about yajñas and sacrifices, we read in the Srimad Bhagavatam of the famous sacrifice that Daksha had performed, right? And he had insulted Shiva when Daksha had come to the assembly where the sacrifice was being held. Daksha was a Prajapati, very beautiful and strong, big personality, very powerful. So he had that tej coming out of him, and he was puffed up. And so when he enters the arena, everybody stood up. And Shivji was meditating. He did not stand up, although Shivji was his son-in-law. And so he didn't stand up. And Daksha got very upset with that. And he said certain rude words. And after that, Shivji stopped going there to his place. And then after some time, Daksha had another sacrifice. And in that sacrifice, he didn't even invite Shiva. But Shiva's wife Sati came to know about it from her sisters, because they were all going there, and from Kailash Parvat. She could see all of them going in the aeroplanes and going there, and she wanted to go there as well. But Shiva told her not to do that. But then she got very upset, and then she still left in a hunch. And then she goes there, and her father does not even acknowledge her. So she feels very, very upset. She gives a nice lecture to her father, but then she self-immolates and she gives up her body. And the reason she gives up her body is that she says that this body is something to her father, this body is something that has come from you. I don't want to have anything to do with that. So she gives that body. And when the news reaches Shiva, then obviously Shiva is upset with that, right? So I am going to start sharing my screen again, and we will do a little bit more of the reading that we are doing here. So who was the last person who read?
I read it, Mataji.
All right. So who comes after you?
After me is Garima.
Garima, are you in a position to read?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. All right. So let's read one text each, or two texts each. It'll be two each. Okay.
Maitreya said, when Lord Shiva heard from Narad that Sati, his wife, was now dead because of Prajapati Daksha's insult to her, and that his shoulders had been driven away by the Vibhu demigods, he became greatly angry. The Lord Shiva Thus, Lord Shiva, being extremely angry, pressed his lips with his teeth and immediately snatched from his head a strand of hair which blazed like electricity or fire. He stood up at once, laughing like a madman, and dashed the hair to the ground.
A fearful black demon, as high as the sky and as bright as the sun, as three suns combined, was thereby created. His teeth very fearful, and the hairs on his head like burning fire. He had thousands of arms equipped with various weapons, and he was garlanded with the heads of men. When the gigantic demon asked with folded hands, "What shall I do what shall I do, my lord?" Lord Shiva, who is known as Bhutnath, directly ordered, "Because you are born from my body, you are the chief of my associates. Therefore, kill Daksha and his soldiers at the sacrifice." Hare Krishna.
Maitreya continued, "My dear Vidura, that black person was the personified anger of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he was prepared to execute the orders of Lord Shiva. Thus, considering himself capable of coping with any power offered against him, he circumambulated Lord Shiva. Many other soldiers of Lord Shiva followed the fierce personality in a tumultuous uproar. He carried a great trident, fearful enough to kill even death, and on his legs he wore bangles which seemed to roar. Hare Krishna.
At that time, all the persons assembled in the sacrificial arena, the priest, the chief of the sacrificial performance, and the brahmanas and their wives, wondered where the darkness was coming from. Later, they could understand that it was a dust storm, and all of them were full of anxiety. Conjecturing on the origin of the storm, they said, "There is no wind blowing and no cows are passing, nor is it possible that this dust storm could be raised by plunderers, for there is still the strong King Barhi who would punish them. Where is this dust storm blowing from? Is the dissolution of the planet now to occur?" Vidyavali Mataji.
My calf, I closed it. Prasudhi, the wife of Daksha, along with the other women assembled, became very anxious and said, "This danger has been created by Daksha because of the death of Sati, who, even though completely innocent, quit her body as her sisters looked on." At the time of dissolution, Lord Shiva's hair is scattered and he pierced the rulers of the different directions with his trident. He laughs. Trident. He laughs and dances proudly, scattering their hands like flags as thunder scatters the clouds all over the world.
Hare Krishna. The gigantic black man bared his fearful teeth. By the movements of his brows, he scattered the luminaries all over the sky, and he covered them with his strong, piercing effulgence. Because of the misbehavior of Daksh, even Lord Brahma, Daksha's father, could not have been saved from the great exhibition of anger. While all the people talked amongst themselves, Daksha saw dangerous Daksha Daksha saw dangerous omens from all sides, from the earth and from the sky. Hare Krishna.
My dear Vidura, all the followers of Lord Shiva surrounded the arena of sacrifice. They were of short stature, and were equipped with various kinds of weapons. Their bodies appeared to be like those of sharks, blackish and yellowish. They ran all around the sacrificial arena and thus began to create disturbances. Some of the soldiers pulled down the pillars which were supporting the pandal of sacrifice. Some of them entered the female quarters, some began destroying the sacrificial arena, and some entered the kitchen and the residential quarters. Hare Krishna.
They broke all the pots made for use in the sacrifice, and some of them began to extinguish the sacrificial fire. Some tore down the boundary line of the sacrificial arena, and some passed urine on the arena. Some blocked the way of the fleeing sages, some threatened the women assembled there, and some arrested the demigods who were fleeing the pandal.
Maniman, one of the followers of Lord Shiva, arrested Bhrigu Muni, and Virabhadra, the black demon, arrested Prajapati Daksha. Another follower, who was named Chandesha, arrested Pusha. Nandiswara arrested the demigod Bhaga. There was a continuous shower of stones, and all the priests and other members assembled at the sacrifice were put into immense misery. For fear of their lives, they dispersed in different directions.
Vindhyavali Mataji.
People are talking here, that's why. Virabhadra tore off the mustache of Bhrigu, who was offering the sacrifice oblations with his hands in the fire. Virabhadra immediately caught Bhaga, who had been moving his eyebrows during Bhrigu's cursing of Lord Shiva, and out of great anger thrust him to the ground and forcefully put out his eyes. People are talking, that's why I put mute.
Just as Baldev knocked out the teeth of Dantavakra, the king of Kalinga, during the gambling match at the marriage ceremony of Aniruddha, Veerabhadra knocked out the teeth of both Daksha, who had shown them while cursing Lord Shiva, and Pusha, who by smiling sympathetically had also shown his teeth. Then Veerbhadra, the giant-like personality, sat on the chest of Daksha and tried to separate his head from his body with sharp weapons, but was unsuccessful. Hare Krishna.
He tried to cut the head of Daksha with hymns as well as weapons, but still it was hard to cut even the surface of the skin of Daksha's head. Thus, Veerbhadra was exceedingly bewildered. When Veerbhadra saw the wooden device in the sacrificial arena by which the animals were to have been killed, he took the opportunity of this facility to behead Daksha. Hare Krishna.
Upon seeing the action of Veerabhadra, the party of Lord Shiva was pleased and cried out joyfully, and all the bhutas, ghosts, and demons that had come made a tumultuous sound. On the other hand, the Brahmanas in charge of the sacrifice cried out in grief at the death of Daksha. Veerabhadra then took the head and with great anger threw it into the southern side of the sacrificial fire, offering it as an oblation. In this way, the followers of Lord Shiva devastated all the arrangements for sacrifice. After setting fire to the whole arena, they departed for their master's abode, Kailasha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we saw vedeṣu, yajñeṣu, tapaḥsu caiva in today's verse, right? And so one might think that if I'm going to do sacrifice, I'm going to get something good out of it. But it's not a guarantee that a sacrifice is going to succeed always. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Right? So what happens in this particular case, and some very interesting thing that comes out of this whole story is that Daksha got killed, and not only that, his head was thrown into the sacrificial arena. And then after that, there were peace talks, and Brahma was involved and all that. And he says, pacifies Lord Shiva, and then Shiva comes and all that to that place. And they're like, okay, so let's bring Daksha back to life. But how do we bring him back to life? Of course, because his head is already burnt. He threw it into the sacrificial arena, so it's gone, right? And that's when they took the head of a
Oh, Mataji.
Yes, they took a head of a goat and they
Goat.
attached it to Daksha. That's why in the picture you will see Daksha with the head of a goat, which also establishes the fact that the ultimate doer in the body is the soul. It's not that, and he could function. He functioned as a Prajapati. He continued to function after that, after he got the head of a goat, which basically is saying that it doesn't matter. This upper part doesn't matter. What is really behind the scenes is the soul. Right? And of course, his mind was also there, right? Which was subtle, that cannot be cut by weapons or burned like that. It's a subtle body. So anyway, I just wanted to bring this out because we get very impressed by the fact that, oh, I'll do, study the Vedas, I'll do some yajñas, I'll do this and that. But then it is a difficult thing, right? So
Devotional service is the easiest
yes,
way
it's the
to
easiest thing.
achieve.
And then they, so vedeṣu, yajñeṣu, tapaḥsu caiva, dāneṣu yat puṇya-phalam pradiṣṭam. So these vedeṣu, right? Vedeṣu is what? What does vedeṣu mean over here when we are using the word vedeṣu?
When you're studying the Vedas.
And you're studying the Vedas, right? So when I'm studying the Vedas, you'll get some certain benefits out of that, right? People will read the Vedas to get certain things. For example, if I read the Vedas, then I will know the nuances of how do I get out of the miserable condition that I am in my life right now, right? Like I can do that. Yajñeṣu can be done completely for my own things, right? So people do vedeṣu, yajñeṣu, tapa. They do that majorly. They do that for karam kandi activities, right? So this focus is on karam kandi. Vedeṣu, yajñeṣu, tapaḥsu caiva, dāneṣu. People can also give charity. People can give things in charity. I remember one of my neighbor's son-in-law had met with an accident back in Delhi, so she gave steel plates to everybody. It's for the long life of the son-in-law, right? Of course, the son-in-law died. But people do dān for those reasons also. That's a karam kandi activities. You're giving dān to people because you want to get something out of return. So vedeṣu, yajñeṣu, tapaḥsu caiva, dāneṣu yat puṇya-phalam pradiṣṭam. So all the punya that you get, right? All the punya that you're going to get. Now, in this chapter, he has started with yoga, Ashtanga yoga, right? This whole chapter is about Ashtanga yoga, talks about Ashtanga yoga. But then he's bringing in the concepts of bhakti in this. In as much as when he finished, when he talked about Dhyan yoga in chapter 6, at the end of it, he said, Yoginam api sarvesham mat agaten tatar atmana Shraddhavan bhajate umam same yukta tamamata. So he says, among all the yogis, I am the best yogi. I am the best, right? So worshipping Krishna is the best yoga. And then again here he is saying, right? Dāneṣu yat puṇya-phalam pradiṣṭam atyeti tat sarvam idaṁ. Even better than that is one who surrenders unto me, right? So one thing to keep in mind also is that Krishna is using the word yoga in almost every chapter there, right? And how is Arjun to understand what he is? Is it Jnana yoga? What karma yoga? Is it Sankhya yoga? What yoga is he talking about, right? So in the Sanskrit language, you will find a lot of words that are homographs, that they will be the same. The spelling of the word will be the same. But depending on the context, the meaning will change, right? For example, even in English, we have got a lot of homographs. For example, I can say the Bank of America gave him a loan to build a house by the river bank. Right?
Yeah, bank
The
has
word
two meanings.
bank has got two meanings there, right? So things kind of similarly here also yoga, but then he understands that. He understands in the context of what he's talking about. So what does he say in the previous verse? Open up the previous verse and tell me, what does Krishna tell Arjuna in the previous verse? 3.8.3.
He tells him that the devotees know these two paths and they are not bewildered by it.
Therefore,
they are always fixed in devotion.
Yeah.
And then in the Sanskrit, what does he say?
Yoga yukto bhava Arjuna.
Yeah, yoga yukto bhava Arjuna. So he's saying yoga, right? Yoga yukto bhava Arjuna. So one has to understand yoga, right? So chapter 8, one might say, oh yeah, chapter 8 is all about Ashtanga yoga, and Krishna is saying yoga yukto bhava Arjuna. So Krishna is saying do Ashtanga yoga. That's not it, right? So you have to understand all other things also that Krishna has been speaking, right? And he has been comparing. He told that how difficult it is to perform Ashtanga yoga. Bhuvor madhye pranam aveshadanya. Priyana kale manasa chalena, right? And then, yanti deva vata devan, pritrin yanti pritivata, bhutani yanti bhutetya, yanti majyajinopiman. So whoever you're focusing on, you'll go. But if you come to me, antakale cha mame vasvaran muktva kalevaram, right? So he's telling all that, and again saying that devotional service is much, much easy. And then he tells about this world as a place of misery, right? So all these other yogas are going to bring you back to this world of misery. But then he's saying that when you do bhakti yoga, then you transcend all this and go to a place of no return, right? And then he talks about that if you were to pursue the Ashtanga yoga route, how difficult it is, to pass away when the sun is in the north, when it is waxing moon, when it is in the light and all that kind of stuff, right? So how difficult it is to leave the body at that time. On the other hand, he's saying, Nati Shriti Parthajanam Yogi Muhyati Questioner. So there are two ways of passing from this world, right? One goes, one he doesn't come back, when he comes back. So in the previous verse, he said that. And now he says, Nati Shriti Parthajanam Yogi Muhyati Questioner. So he says, but the yogi is not bewildered. So which yogi are we talking about? We are talking about the bhakti yogi. The bhakti yogi is not bewildered by these two things because he's already talking about Ashtanga yoga there. So now he's saying, okay, but all that is very difficult, but the yogi, so now we understand that it is the bhakti yogi he's talking about. And tasmat sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukto bhavarjuna. That's why at all the time, because a yogi is not bewildered by all these things that give trouble to the other yogis, then try to be this kind of a yogi, and which is the bhakti yogi. Now to clarify that, right, to clarify that even more, he goes and says that today's verse, vedeṣu yajñeṣu tapaḥsu caiva. So all the kinds of yogis are inside that verse, right? From all of them, better than all of them is the bhakti yogi, one who does the bhakti yoga. And then he will continue. He will continue to expand more on bhakti yoga. More on bhakti yoga. Remember, there are 18 chapters in Bhagavad-gita divided into 6. 6 plus 6 plus 6, right? And so the middle 6 are the most important and the precious chapters of Bhagavad-gita, and we've already done 2 of them, 7 and 8. And he'll continue to go deeper and deeper into devotional service. And after he tells him that, right, atyeti tat sarvam idam viditvā, yogī param sthānam upaiti cādyam. After he does all that, then he goes to chapter 9, or changes, goes to the next topic, where he says Rajvidya Rajaguhyam, right? So most confidential knowledge. And then he's going to give the confidential knowledge. The most confidential knowledge is the knowledge that bhakti is the best place to be, and the best thing to be doing and investing our things on that, right? So people can think about effulgence, the white effulgence, a very beautiful light. It had such a calming effect on you, like people who have near-death experience, they talk about that, right? So it was such a peaceful experience. I forgot all my miseries and all that. So people might just think that, okay, so I'm going to go into Krishna's light, right? That is, so a person could say, I want to go into the Brahma Jyoti. I want to go into the light, right? I go there and merge into the light. People might think that is a way to go. But instead of that, what you should be doing is to bring Krishna's light into your life. How do you bring Krishna's light into your life? It's just a play of words, by doing bhakti yoga,
Devotional.
Bhakti yoga.
devotional service. And then sarvdharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshasyami ma suchaha, right? So there also he's just saying simply, very, very simply, he's saying that, just leave everything. Sarvdharman parityajya. Okay? Now, it doesn't mean that you give up all these activities. Actually, in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, he says that, some of the acts of sacrifices should never be given up. Should never be given up, because these things purify even those who are exalted. They even purify. So what is the difference? Now here he was saying, vedeṣu, yajñeṣu, tapaḥsu, caiva, dāneṣu. So here he's saying, oh, better than that, do devotional service. And then 18th chapter, he's saying, you do that also. Acts of sacrifice, have to be performed, says that. So we have to keep this in mind, that when you do a sacrifice, and tapa, right? So when you do any kinds of these acts of austerities or penances, charity and all that, the main thing to keep in mind is, what is the intention behind those activities, right? So the vedeṣu, yajñeṣu, tapaḥsu, caiva, there he's talking about the karma-kandi activities. When people do yajñas, when people will sola somvar ka vrat rakhna is a austerity, right? But why are you doing that, right? To get a nice husband, like that. So when people are doing things, they're doing it for themselves. But you can also do fasting, like we fast on Janmashtami, we don't fast for anything. We don't fast on Janmashtami to get a good husband. We fast for Krishna, like that. So you can do that. You can give charity, right? You can donate books. You can give money for distributing prasadam. You can do all that, but those are all transcendental items there that you are investing or donating towards, right? So keep that in mind, that's also very important, that we continue to do those things, but the focus and the attention changes from me to Krishna. And that is what devotional service is all about, right?
Mother,
Go ahead,
one
yeah.
question comes in my mind, that we know from the 7th and 8th chapter that devotional service is the best. And here Lord himself is saying that results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifice, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains these. So there is no, you can do that, but I'm scared in a way that when you are doing, one may forget the devotional service, which is the most important. So why get indulged in that? It is better to perform devotional service and get out of it.
Yes, if you understood that, that's very good, right? But again, you have to look at the word yajña. Okay, so yajña, we always understand well, in chapter 6, there were different types of sacrifices that were described, if you remember, right? So one is a dravya sacrifice. Dravya sacrifice is that you light a fire, you put something in it. Most of the sacrifices, karmakandi sacrifices, are like that, right? But then there is also sacrifice. We talked about how the brahmachari sacrifices his mind, right, into the fire of control. That's also a sacrifice. And then in this yuga, what is the sacrifice? What is the yajña? Sankirtan yajña.
Oh, Sankirtan Yajna.
Oh, Sankirtan. Yeah.
Right? So you will
Hmm.
get,
And,
so that's the
and
yajña that
Mataji,
you do.
following the 4 regulatory principles is also, you see, controlling your senses, you are putting that
It's
into
an
the fire.
austerity. Yeah, it's not a yajña.
Austerity.
Yeah, it's an
Okay.
austerity. Yeah. Like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Very nice, Mataji.
Yeah, so in this chapter, Arjuna had asked some questions of Krishna, and Krishna one by one, answered, gave him this fantastic thing, and gave us also a very fantastic view of the world, of this miserable world, and also gave us a way to get out of this miserable world, right? So now it's entirely up to us whether we want to take it or whether we want to let it be.
But out of austerities, which is the best austerity one should do?
Austerity of the
And take
mind.
the holy name, huh?
Austerity of the mind.
Austerity of the mind.
Yeah, so austerity of the
Controlling
mind will be when, everywhere, and you will control it through mantra, chanting the holy names of the Lord. Ultimately, the mind has to be focused on Krishna, right? So we start chanting, we hear whatever we are chanting, and that way the holy name enters from our ears, goes into our heart, purifies the heart, right?
It's loud.
Yeah.
We'll read the purport, Madhuri.
Yes. Just wanted to make sure if there are any
Anything else?
comments there. And it's a really long purport.
Yeah.
Okay. So you all want to read the purport, one paragraph by one paragraph?
We can do that, Madhuri.
Am I sharing it? No. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sharing.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
There.
Okay.
Want me to start first one, Mataji?
Who was the last who read?
Uttara.
Uttara read? Okay, then Sukomal Radha, you read.
Are we doing one paragraph, Mataji?
Yeah.
Okay. This verse is the summation of the 7th and 8th chapters, which particularly deal with Krishna consciousness and devotional service. One has to study the Vedas under the guidance of the spiritual master and undergo many austerities and penances while living under his care. A brahmachari has to live in the home of the spiritual master just like a servant, and he must beg alms from door to door and bring them to the spiritual master. He takes food only under the master's order, and if the master neglects to call the student for food that day, the student fasts. These are some of the Vedic principles for observing brahmacharya.
Mataji, can you move a little bit up? After the student studies the Vedas under the master for some time, at least from age 5 to 20, he becomes a man of perfect character. Study of the Vedas is not meant for the recreation of armchair speculators, but for the information of character,
For the formation
for formation of character. After this training, the brahmachari is allowed to enter into household life and marry. When he is a householder, he has to perform many sacrifices so that he may achieve further enlightenment. He must also give charity according to the country, time, and candidate, discriminating among charity in goodness, in passion, and in ignorance, as described in Bhagavad-gita. Then, after retiring from household life, upon accepting the order of Vanaprastha, he undergoes severe penances, living in forest, dressing with three dark, three bark, not saving, etc. By carrying out the order of brahmacharya, householder life, vanaprastha, and finally sannyasa, one becomes elevated to the perfectional stage of life. Some are then elevated to the heavenly kingdoms, and when they become even more advanced, they are liberated in the spiritual sky, either in the impersonal Brahma Jyotir or in the Vaikuntha planets or Krishna Loka. This is the path outlined by Vedic literatures. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The beauty of Krishna consciousness, however, is that by engaging in devotional service, one can surpass all the rituals of the different orders of life. May I read the next?
Yes,
I'll read.
Mataji.
The words idam, viditvā, indicate that one should understand the instructions given by Shri Krishna in this chapter and the 7th chapter of Bhagavad-gita. One should try to understand these chapters not by scholarship or mental speculation, but by hearing them in association with devotees. Chapters 7 through 12 are the essence of Bhagavad-gita. The first 6 and the last 6 chapters are like coverings for the middle 6 chapters, which are especially protected by the Lord. If one is fortunate enough to understand Bhagavad-gita, especially these middle 6 chapters in the association of devotees, then his life at once becomes glorified beyond all penances, sacrifices, charities, speculations, etc. For one can achieve all the results of these activities simply by Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna ji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so any thoughts? What you read? Any comments? You like what Krishna is saying?
Yeah.
Mataji, one paragraph is still left, I think.
The paragraph still left? Oh, I thought so.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mataji.
One
Oh.
who has little faith, the last paragraph.
Okay, go ahead. Whose turn is it to read?
Tana Mataji didn't
Uttara.
read. She read only 2 lines.
No,
Okay.
Yeah. May I read?
Yes.
May I read? Mataji, sorry, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Oh, she didn't
I was
read it.
late.
Okay, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji. One who had a little faith in Bhagavad-gita should learn Bhagavad-gita from a devotee, because in the beginning of 4th chapter it is stated clearly that Bhagavad-gita can be understood only by devotee. No one else can perfectly understand the purpose of Bhagavad-gita. One should therefore learn Bhagavad-gita from a devotee of Krishna, not from mental speculators. This is the sign of faith. When one searches for a devotee and fortunately gets devotee association, one actually begins to study and understand Bhagavad Gita. By advancement in association of the devotee, one is placed in devotional service, and this service spells all one's misgivings about Krishna or God, and Krishna activities from pastime, name, and other features. After these misgivings have been perfectly cleared away, one becomes fixed in one study. Then one relishes the study of Bhagavad Gita and attains the state of feeling always Krishna conscious. In the advanced stage, one falls completely in love with Krishna. The highest perfectional stage of life enables the devotee to be transferred to Krishna abode in spiritual sky, Golak Vrindavan, where the devotee becomes eternally happy. Thus ends the Bhagavad Vedanta purpose of to the 8th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of attaining the Supreme. Hare Krishna ji. Thank you so much.
Hari Bol. So, yeah. What did we hear in the last?
So from this, now Bhagavad Gita, we should listen from a devotee, from a spiritual master, not for any other mental speculators.
Correct.
So this is a sign of faith. And spiritual master and devotees, they will give good understanding of this Krishna consciousness and Krishna's activities and everything.
Anything else?
Mother, Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, when somebody says that I bought Bhagavad-gita of such and such writer, in this at that time, how can we tell the person to read Bhagavad-gita written by Srila Prabhupada?
As it is.
Can you repeat your question? I didn't get your question.
My question is, Mataji, actually yesterday there was a little discussion in, I mean, we all were sitting together and talking. And my niece said that she bought a Bhagavad Gita written by some other writer, and she was explaining it to me. And I found that it was not according to what I read. And but I could not tell her that read Bhagavad Gita written by Srila Prabhupada. I thought she may get offended and she may say, just because I believe in it, so that's why I'm advocating it.
What I tell is Bhagavad Gita is written by Prabhupada. That one is as it is. Krishna told the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. That is
That's right.
as it is, he translated that
Yes.
Bhagavad Gita. That's why we read Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gitas.
Yes.
That's what I meant. I understood. Is that right, Mataji?
Yeah, I'd like to just expand a little bit more on that thought that you have, Vinayali Mataji. And we hear, where did I lose you all? I don't see you. Let me get back on Zoom. What happened to Zoom?
We have that paragraph, Mataji.
Yeah. So we also hear sarp uchista, milk, right? So they say that hearing the Bhagavad Gita from a non-devotee is like drinking milk which has been touched by a serpent, right? We hear that Prabhupada saying that in his lectures, right? Have you come across that? Milk touched by a serpent, right? So the snake has got poison that comes from his mouth, right? So all that poison will get into the milk, and if you drink it, then you will die. So when it comes to hearing Bhagavad Gita from a non-devotee, they say that it is as bad, right? And so one might just ask the question, like your niece is asking, that after all, it is the Bhagavad Gita, right?
Yeah.
After all, it is a Bhagavad Gita. What is wrong if I got it from somebody else and not got it from your Bhagavad Gita, which is Bhagavad Gita as it is, right?
But
So
that's a natural question for them to ask.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a very natural question for them to ask. And so now we have to look at it from, Vindhyavali said that it is as it is. It has come from the parampara as it is. So nobody changed it, right? And it was as it was spoken by Krishna. So they might also come and say that, yeah, so but I have retained the same slokas, 700 there, 700 here, right? So what happens is when you're explaining the Bhagavad Gita, to bring out the nuances, like if you ask majority of the people, if you ask this question in India, what does Bhagavad Gita teach you? What will majority of the people in India tell you? Bhagavad Gita teaches you to
do devotional service, Mataji, and go back.
They say devotional service?
No, they don't. I don't know what will people in India say, Mataji?
Yeah.
I don't
Most of
know.
them will tell you Bhagavad Gita is how to do your duty.
Yeah.
That's why Bhagavad Gita is a book,
Do
right?
your duty,
Do your
they say.
karma.
Do your duty.
Do your duty.
Do karma karo, right? So this is about, so they will say it's all about duty. So that's why you find that in some of the other religious beliefs, they will say a good man is a good man who takes care of his wife, who earns money honestly and takes care of his family and his children. He's a
But
good
do
man.
your duty with not your fruitive results.
So we have to understand that that is not good enough, right? So trying to do, and in today's verse we also said, vedeṣu, yajñeṣu, tapaḥsu, caiva. I said a person could be reading the Vedas, but what is the purpose behind reading it is karmakandi activities. So a person can read the Bhagavad-gita and be taught the Bhagavad-gita. See, Bhagavad-gita is 700 verses. Srimad Bhagavatam is 18,000 verses. And you get a Srimad Bhagavatam from some other place. It is not 18 volumes.
Yeah.
You get it in 3 books. I read a Srimad Bhagavatam in 1 book.
Yes.
Right?
How can 18,000 verses fill in 1 book?
It was fat, but yes, and that's a question to ask, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm just saying is that it depends on the person who is presenting it.
Yeah.
And so the beauty of the book, and as a person, I'm a student, right? If I'm a student, I remember my sister was very, very, very serious about her studies when she used to study, and when she went to do her master's, her teacher gave 1 book to all the students and said, okay, follow this book. And so she came back home. She was a botany student, and so was my mom. So she came to my mom and said, oh, but they have given only 1 book. And I don't think 1 book, if everybody's going to read that 1 book, I want 1 more book. I want something higher, something different. So they went to the teacher. My mom took her to the teacher, the professor. In those days, kids went with their parents to meet the professor. So she went there, and then the professor said, there is no other book. This is the only book, but how much a student is going to extract out of the book depends on the student's capacity and the capability. So there's 1 book, you read the book thoroughly, right? So he said that. So now, when people are extracting the things out of the book, it also depends on the capabilities of the teacher as to how much he or she is able to extract and what they are extracting. If you remember, a few days ago, I was just in a joking manner, I was saying, some people say Bhagavad-gita tells you that you can drink tea. Like, where is it written in Bhagavad-gita you can drink tea? Well, ye chapi aksharam avyaktam. Chapi is saying chapi. Right? So people can interpret that and present a different, so basically whoever it is in India has very strongly projected this picture of the Bhagavad Gita, that Bhagavad Gita is all about doing your duty. To a certain extent, they are right, right? And Arjun's duty was to fight. He was a warrior. He fought, so he did his duty. But now Srila Prabhupada brings out the essence, and he says that, so how come that same Arjuna suddenly got turned? If he knew how to do his duty in 45 minutes, he understood, right? Because Krishna showed him a very different view of the Mahabharata war, right? He said it is not for karm kandi activity. He was saying kimno bhogena rajena. Bhoga means karm kandi, right? He was saying, like, how will I enjoy the spoils of this war? Because he was thinking about himself. And later on, when he understood that his duty was to do whatever Krishna wants to do, right? So those are the things. So when a person is giving you the Bhagavad Gita and presenting the Bhagavad Gita to you in a very different light, which is different from the original presentation that Krishna wanted to give you, they are giving, the verses are the same, but they're interpreting it in a different way, or forgetting to emphasize on something, the important parts of it, that's equally bad. So it is as if, so that milk, if we were to compare Bhagavad Gita to milk, then this milk is gone bad. This milk is useless. And actually this milk is even dangerous for you. Because if you say that, okay, I can do karma kandi activities, you spend your whole human life in just doing karma kandi activities. And guess what? Shine punya martalokam vishanti. You'll go to the higher planet and then you will come
down.
Right? So there's no point. So now, in a sense, it is like milk that has been touched by a poisonous snake. Right? So that is why we tell people that when you read the Bhagavad Gita from a bona fide acharya. And that's what Prabhupada also says that in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita. There's so many people who have made translations of Bhagavad Gita. So many. They're not even devotees. So Bhagavad Gita has to be read from and heard from the mouth of a pure devotee. Does that answer your question?
That's a very good answer, Mataji.
Yes.
So call your niece again for dinner.
No, she was here only. She came to call me, actually. Come up.
I saw her behind you.
No, he's my husband.
That was Subhash?
Yeah.
Okay. I just saw somebody tall.
Yeah.
Okay, so on that happy note, we will conclude chapter number 8. You can congratulate yourself that we
Yes.
spent
Thank you
28
so
weeks.
much, Mataji.
28
Yeah,
weeks.
weeks we spent that, almost 7 months. And now we are ready as the new year dawns.
I
we are ready to
love
go
chapter
into-
9. My
Yes.
favorite.
Beautiful chapter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
All right. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya
Kripascha kripa sindhubhayeva cha
patitanam
patitanam
pavanebhyo
pavanebhyo
vaishnavebhyo
vaishnavebhyo
namo
namo
namaha.
namaha. God.
Hari Hari
Thank you
Bol.
so much,
Hari Hari.
Shraddha
Thank you so
Mataji.
much, Mataji.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Mataji.
Mataji. Thank you.
Yeah.
Take care, both of you.
Mataji.
The nice
1st of
answer
January.
you gave me for about Bhagavad-gita.
The all mercy of the acharyas who teach me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
1st of January. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
So we will, we will do that, and then we will continue with our nectar of devotion reading at 6:30. Just wanted to let you know, right? So we'll continue on why devotional service is auspicious.
Okay.
We talked about devotional service as something that relieves the distress, which is what we talked about in chapter 8 also, right? Now in nectar of devotion, we will go back.
Okay. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Mataji.
Remember to make your
Dandavat
goals and write
pranam.
them down. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Kripascha kripa
sindhubhyascha
sindhubhayeva
patitanam pavanebhyo
pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo
Gaur
namaha.
Premanande. Hari
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 Bol.
Bol.